You're watching this video because you're now the administrator of your own Region Book of Business site. The first time you want to log in, ask the person who set up the site to invite you in by email. And when you click on the link, you can use either your current username and password, or if you don't have one, you'll create a username and password. Once you're logged in, you'll see the admin button at the top, and that shows you're an administrator of the site. There are only a couple of administrators. The districts and associates will just be users on the site. You'll notice that there's a site snapshot that gives you a visual representation of all of the accounts that are inside your Region Book of Business. You can use this people drop-down to choose the person that you want to look at. You'll notice in your site that you might have email addresses in place of these names. Those are people who have been invited into your site but may not have yet accepted the invitation in. And once they do accept, their email address will turn into a name. Each enrollment month is a clickable link that takes you to the advanced search. So if I click on September, it will show me the 55 accounts. You'll notice that I'm only displaying 1 through 50, and I can change the results number here to a bigger number so that it includes all 55. I can scroll through and look at the list and click on any account that I choose. When I do, it will take me to a workspace for each of the accounts in the Book of Business. When you're on a workspace, you'll notice it's got the name and the account number. You'll see a lock, and that indicates that this is a private page. And going down the right will be all the contact information that was imported from the Book of Business. This is a really critical section called Members and Access. This is how one by one you can assign accounts to different people. There's also a way to do in bulk, which I'll just show you in a moment. So if you click here on Edit on any one of the workspaces, you'll literally see a list of everyone that's a part of the site. And you can change somebody who does have access to the blank choice, which means they will not have access, and instead choose a person who you do want to give access to. Then you'll scroll to the bottom and click Save. If I continue down the right-hand side, you'll notice below Members and Access is a whole section full of custom fields that have been imported from the Book of Business. You can see here it's got the district's name, it has the servicing associate, and more. Every time the Book of Business is re-imported in the site, whether it's done at the region or state level for the Region Book of Business site, this list of fields underneath the account details will update with whatever is imported from the Book of Business. So we'll update months inactive, number of employees, etc. Any change that needs to be made to the Book of Business should be done in CIS as it has been before. The purpose of this site is simply to remind folks of their upcoming enrollments and to have a way of filling out a strategy pre and post enrollment. It is not a way to update the Book of Business. We import the servicing associate from the Book of Business. After the initial import, the two are kept separate. If you change their access in the Book of Business, it does not change it in FMYI. That's because the Book of Business spreadsheet does not show the assigned servicing associate. And so if we import the servicing associate from the Book of Business, it might put in the wrong access. You can easily adjust this Members and Access at any time by clicking Edit, and so can the agents who have access and are listed as owner. Your associates and districts will learn how they can update the strategy document for each account by clicking on the word Form. There's a video that shows this process, and we welcome you to watch it as well so you're familiar with it. The more people who know how to use the system and how easy it is, the more that everybody will get better results. Let's go back to the home page. As the administrator of your site, it's important that you know how to allow new people into the site and also handle it when somebody needs to be removed. And that's all done here on the Admin tab. There's a shortcut for inviting people and managing people, but I'm going to click on the Admin tab so you can see where these links are also located, which is here on the left under People Settings, Invite People, and Manage People. It's actually a little workflow. So Invite People is how the newest people get into your site. And it doesn't matter if you click on Invite People here on the left, or if you invite people right here. They do the exact same thing. The first thing you need to do is list all of the email addresses of the people you want to add. So for example, a new group of people join the team. You literally can paste these from Outlook, Excel, as long as they're separated by either a comma a semicolon, or a line return, you can just paste them straight into this box, or you can obviously type them in. You're going to leave the access right here at General Access, and then you're going to add people onto a team. So if these are all associates, I'll check off the all associates team. If they're not all associates and there are some coordinators, then you would repeat the entire process, first inviting the coordinators onto the coordinator team, and then separately inviting the associates on the associate team, and finally, you're going to have a welcome message that you can adjust if you like, and then click Invite People. You can leave this box checked because as soon as you invite people, you want them to have access. Now, everybody on your site will go into then this Manage Invitations section. You'll see a list of all of the people you've invited into your site. So their email address is listed here, and this means they've received your email, but they have not yet joined, created a username and password. If you have a list of people here and you want to send those invitations again, you can go to Select All, which will put a check mark here, and Resend. That will resend the invitation. It'll ask you if you're sure, and you click OK. If there are invitations that you want to remove, you can check those names and then click on Delete. Now, once people join your site, they'll go here under the Manage People section. You'll see a list of all of the users in your site. Notice next to each username is the email address. And if somebody tells you they forgot their username and password, you can have them go to FMYI.com, and at the top right, you'll see how to reset your password. You'll be able to use this username and the email address and get a reset password link. Also, you'll notice that you can review your users by just administrators. This would be the RSC. Also, it would be the regional admin, and we would recommend inviting your state to the site. General users would be all of your associates, and you won't need to use guest or restricted users. If you wanted to remove the access of a bunch of your associates at the same time, you would click Update Users. This would list all of the people, and you could simply check the ones to remove, deactivate users, and then click Batch Update. This would be if you were cleaning up your site and after a period of time certain associates had left. If you want to remove one person from the site, simply click Edit next to the name and then choose Deactivated here under the status. I'll scroll down and click Update. And now this user is on our deactivated people list. You can get back to this deactivated list at any time. When you're on the Manage People screen, just scroll to the bottom underneath all of your users and then show deactivated people. If you invite someone to the site who has previously been deactivated, it won't work because it's already got their name inside the system. So instead, what you want to do is go to somebody that's deactivated and click Edit and simply reactivate them. Now they'll have access to the site again. Let's click on Admin. As an admin, you can also use Site Management to post a site announcement, which goes on the front of the homepage, or even view a log of all the people who have accessed your site, so you can see each person's name and when they last logged in. Let's go back to the homepage. With admin access to the Region Book of Business site, there are some very powerful things you can do in the Search tab, so I'm going to click on the Search icon here on the right. I'm also going to choose the Advanced Search. And I want to bring up all the groups, so I'm going to use the filters in the right-hand column and just click on the word Groups. I could also just choose Existing Groups. You'll notice here it's displaying 1 through 50 of 1008, and I can display as many as I want by changing the number of results per page. So I can actually change this to 1008. That way it lists all of these on this one page. And if I scroll down, you're going to see a lot of accounts going down. Some of the most common changes you'll make have to do with access. So you might want to look up one person's account. For example, I can choose for all of the accounts belonging to Mullix Edwards. Once I click Search, it will filter and now pull up just 142. Select Batch Update to change access to these accounts. So you can select from the current page of results or all results. In this case, since I'm displaying 142 of 142, I'm showing them all and it doesn't matter which one I choose, but by saying select, I can choose all or none and just check off the ones that I want. What do I want to do? Well, the most common are to add an owner or to remove access. So I'll choose add an owner, and here I can choose the person I want to give access to all of these accounts. I choose the name and I simply run the batch update. The other thing you might want to do is remove someone's access. So let's say Mullix is leaving. I can go down here and remove Edward Mullix from these accounts. If I do that, it's going to ask if I'm sure, and I say OK. Now that this is complete, I have the option to perform another update, so I'll click that rather than refresh. And this time I'm going to give somebody else access. So I'll click Add an Owner, and because Mullix really never left, I'm going to go ahead and add Edward Mullix back, run the batch update, and give these back. Once you click Refresh, it's a way of starting over. Now the other thing that you might want to do is generate a report. This will pull up an Excel spreadsheet of all of Edward Mullix's 142 groups. So you just click Generate a Report. You can include the custom fields and description and click Generate. When you run the report, you'll see whose groups they are. You'll have the name of the page, which is the name of the group, and then all the information that was imported from the book of business about all of these accounts. This is a great way to double check and make sure that the right people have access to the right accounts. I'm going to close the spreadsheet. So that does it for our tour of how to use FMYI as the administrator of the site. If you need assistance with your site, contact FMYI support at 888-369-4266, extension 1, or email support@fmyi.com. Thank you, and we look forward to supporting your team. As the administrator of the Region Book of Business site, one of the most powerful things you can do is reassign access in bulk. Again, you can choose here to look up a person's accounts and start working with them from here by clicking on the month, or I'm going to go straight to the Search tab just by clicking on the search icon here at the top right.